Hello everyone, this is Drogan1701 here with another Foundry map showcase video. This time we're going to be taking a look at my unfinished projects, and I wanted to provide this commentary to give you a little context behind each of these maps. First up, we have a mission called Atero Dominatus. It was going to be a Romulan Republic mission that involved a large-scale Borg invasion. Once you fought off the initial wave, you were going to get some intel, which was going to lead you to needing a transwarp conduit, so you're going to go to this particular nifty space station and meet a underworld contact, let's say, who's going to give you the location of a transwarp conduit. Here is this nifty Romulan cargo bay in which you're going to give a rousing speech to your crew before heading off on a dangerous mission. And here is the transwarp gate, the near side of it. Was a struggle to get these planetary pieces lined up. And here we are on the far side, which is going to take you out into sort of a area that the Borg really didn't go anymore. And from there, you were going to take a little bit of a trip through the Delta Quadrant, trying to find essentially the home world of the Borg. Which really wasn't a world, it was going to be just a massive complex of Borg structures. I mean, like, truly massive. And then you were going to board the structure, which would lead you through at least one more map, which would end up here, where you're going to meet the first Borg. I called him the Source. He's going to be essentially, you have been trapped here by the rest of the Borg for all eternity. And you were going to, do something to sabotage him and save the day. Next up, we have Sympathy for the Devil, which was going to be a sequel to Land of Hope and Glory, a published mission that I had. Part of it was going to involve you going to this cantina, basically, like the Star Wars cantina. But I wanted to make it a little different, so I had multiple levels. These ramps at the ends were going to be enclosed, and there was going to be lots of tables and dancing and all kinds of fun stuff on each of these levels. As you go up the levels, you would encounter worse and worse organized crime figures. I tell you, there was a lot of copying and pasting going on with this. The information there that you got was going to lead you to this, which is a crashed space station. I utilized Green Dragoon's techniques of creating a crashed saucer section and turn it into a space station, but this time you actually go inside, and it's a TOS space station, but you can see there's various Romulan consoles that have been added by the people who are using it now, which was going to be a secret Romulan agent. Creating TOS walls was a little bit difficult. They did not give us that asset. So these are the backs of the bar assets. And I had the idea that it was kind of half flooded. There's some power generators. And then finally you would go up this ramp here at the end of the hall and go into a little bit more habitable area of the station, which was going to be up here. All of this would culminate when you learned the Romulan agent's plan. She was an independent Romulan agent who was planning to destroy the Tal Shiar, but was going to have a lot of collateral damage because she was going to use a planet killer. And, you know, us being the altruistic Romulan Republic agents and Starfleet officers, we don't like collateral damage, so we're going to have to shut it down. Or destroy it. And thwart her evil plan. Next, we have some maps I built for a potential 26th century mission. We start here with the flotilla of 26th century ships surrounding the Enterprise J, which of course used its hyper warp drive to take us to another galaxy. And of course we're going to have to go on board the Enterprise J, naturally, to get some briefings and things like that. So I was working on this conference room, utilizing some Enterprise J techniques developed by Duncan, Idaho, and adapted a little bit by me. I wanted to have one of the characters be a Nanov, so he needs a little tank here to sit in while you consult him. And I needed a viewport, because who doesn't like a viewport? So the mission was going to involve you basically having to navigate through a very hazardous area of space and find a safe route for the flotilla. And while off navigating, you were going to encounter this space station. As you can see, I really like this technique of basically just sticking all the platform assets together. And naturally, you were going to go inside the space station. There's obviously going to be more stuff in these halls, as well as potentially enemies. This was all going to be enclosed, and then I wanted to have this little spot where you could actually look out into an unenclosed area and see interesting machinery and a background that actually matched the space. I also had a mission going for our AEI exploration project. I was going to start off on our Magellan space station. I always like this particular map here because I made cubicles for it, and you know, cubicles wasn't something I'd ever really seen anybody do in a map before. The mission was going to send you to a rogue planet surrounded by this massive ice field, where you're going to investigate the ruins of a lost civilization. Or is it lost? That's the question. Because from ruins on the surface, it was going to take you down into an underground city. So you see the New Romulus ruin asset that I put on that side. I was actually going to fill the entire ring around this area of water with those. Putting all these rocks in place, that was quite a challenge, but I was definitely inspired by the Depths of Nukara Prime mission. And finally, we're just going to look at some miscellaneous maps. Some of these weren't necessarily attached to any particular projects, like this one. Playing around with water assets, I wanted to see if I could make some sort of floating base or floating city, and I think it turned out pretty well. This was going to be for a planned revamp of the Descent series, my first series. I was going to turn it into a Romulan Republic mission. This was going to be the office of the mission giver. And I really liked how the background area turned out here, which we're in now. You wouldn't necessarily actually go here during the mission, but it provided some great stuff looking out the window. I always like to do a pullback sometimes to show everybody what the rest of the map looks like. And here we have a command center for the Romulan flotilla. I wanted it to be more like a combat information center. You can see giant windows, and it was going to have a second level with all sorts of consoles on it, in which the peons do their work. The mission question was going to involve right when the flotilla was first formed, it was going to involve fighting off attacks from Tal Shiar and Elachi. can see you go back here and there's a secondary hallway, which had the ramps, which would lead you up to the upper level. This was kind of nifty space station hallway I made. Floor is glass with some more flooring underneath to make a kind of two-layered effect. I wanted it to be like an exterior hallway on a space station, with even some docking ports there. And the hallway sort of continues on. I originally had the hallway going all the way around, but that would cost too many assets. This space in the middle was going to be a bar, something sort of Mass Effect-ish. Okay, this was a real simple hallway made with just a couple of assets, but it looked very Enterprise to me, NX-01. So I was going to potentially use it for something in that frame. This is a nifty little outpost in a crater of some sort. I wanted it to where you could see trees around the edges. And that'll do it for this video. Thanks everyone for joining me and letting me give you a little bit of a look at some of the maps that really have never seen the light of day before. This is Drogan1701 signing off.